video is how to create this Emphafish project. I am aware that the octopus is not a fish, but fish fit in for the end of the word emphasis. We will talk about emphasis in this project using basically warm and cool colors and some patterns and contrast to make our animal or our creature stand out. So here's the 4 animals that we do. We do a shark, seahorse, sea turtle, and octopus. When I draw these out, I break them down into simple shapes. So like if I was going to start drawing that shark, I would start with like the big eye shape like this. And then I would add on, you know, like the really sharp kind of shark-like fins. Do a cutout for the mouth, kind of erase that line and add on from there. For the seahorse, sorry, let me rotate this so you can see that. For the seahorse, I would start with this like lima bean shape for the body. And then I have this like floating circular head up here. I do 2 lines to connect the head back to the body for the neck. And then I draw in this like curly cute tail. After I have this shape down, that's kind of the hard work, then I add on the trumpety nose, that little like horn at the head, all these spikes and fins down the back. For the sea turtle, I start there with an oval. So I do an oval for the body, and then I'll do an oval for the head, kind of like floating off in space, kind of like the seahorse. Then we do 2 lines to connect it back with the neck. And then what I do is I like to give the sea turtle like a pronounced upper and lower jaw, where the upper jaw is a little bit bigger than the lower jaw. I give him this really chill kind of eye, where he looks very relaxed. And then you just add on the fins, kind of like one by one. So that one's not too hard. The octopus is really more free form. I mean, it is a really sort of wiggly, squiggly shape. So I kind of start with like the eye bump and the big oval back here, and then I literally just tell them to add tentacles, making sure that the tentacles get narrower as they go towards the edge. But they can go any direction. They could come up behind the octopus. They could go out this way. They could go off the edge of the page. And then just when they draw in the eye, to do kind of like this like cutout here, where there's maybe like a glare at the front of the eye, shade the rest in. And that's really it. Oh, when they start drawing suction cups, I just tell them to kind of like divide off an area where the suction cups go, and then do like a big circle, little circle for all of those, and then just kind of repeat it throughout. And that's pretty much it. That's the drawing stage of this one. You start drawing out your animal, draw lightly in pencil, start with the simple shapes, and also draw large on this paper. The background paper is going to be the same size, and we want this creature to fill up a lot of that paper for it to be very well seen. After you have your sea creature drawn out and you have everything, you know, where you want it, all the details added, some of these lines will not be traced in Sharpie, so I would highly suggest erasing those before you get started just so you don't accidentally trace them. So I'm going to erase that one there. I think I'm going to leave that straight line going down the back just because I feel like it'll divide off the spikes from the rest of the body. I don't know if it really matters. So yeah, get any of your lines erased, then start tracing really neatly in Sharpie. Okay, after you've traced your sea creature in Sharpie, the next step is to fill it with warm watercolors. The fun part about this stage is that when you go to get started, you do not need to stay inside the lines. So I'm just going to kind of throw some color on there. Any red, orange, yellow are considered your warm colors on your palette. I'm just going to do a couple areas of red and then kind of fade out from there into like my yellows. If you ever want an area to get a little bit darker, you could always go back in later and like make another coat. It shouldn't take long to fill this guy with watercolor because you're literally just coloring over it, and you don't even have to color inside the lines because we are going to cut this out. So feel free to just throw it on there. By the way, whenever you're blending with watercolors want to blend. Like they naturally just want to like blend out with other colors. So you don't have to like try to blend. All you really need to do is overlap them. So if you overlap, they should blend. You know, I'm pretty much done anyway. Then what you're going to do is you're going to let this guy dry, and then you're going to cut it out, okay? After you cut it out, you're going to be pasting it onto a background. The background will also need to dry, so I'm going to show you that background in just a minute as well. Okay, I'm going to show you the background really quickly. I'm using washable tempera paints, and I'm using cool colors, so green, blue, and violet. The cool thing about green and blue is that they blend together to make like a really cool turquoisey color. And then blue and violet blend together to make like a really pretty indigo kind of color. So if you want to blend those ones, they work really well. I'm going to go ahead and blend in some green here to kind of mix that turquoisey color I was referring to. I should tell you though that green and violet do not blend very well together. They kind of make like a, I don't know, like a grayish, like dingy kind of color. By the way, when you're doing this background, I encourage you to leave lots of brush strokes. The more brush strokes that are in there, I think the more you'll like this. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create like our oceany looking background, and we're trying to create like a really cool contrast with our warm colored animal that we're gonna paste on top of here, okay? So I would move kind of quickly. Just get that page covered. You don't want to leave any spaces white, but you don't want to blend out your brush strokes too much. You want to leave some brush strokes in there. Sorry, I sometimes get out of that picture frame there. There we go. I'm going to throw in some purple. All right, now my purple's going to go at the bottom. And by the way, you can also just do, like, if you just wanted a blue background, or if you just wanted a green background or something like that, that would be fine too. It's up to you guys. Just make sure that you're not mixing the green with the purple. Or, I mean, I guess if you were making murky ocean waters and you wanted it to be kind of grayish or brownish, that'd be fine too. So, yeah, really, it's whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and mix some more blue in with this purple. I really like what happens when you mix the two colors together, when you mix the blue and purple, or when you mix the blue and green. Like, it really makes these dramatic tertiary mixture colors that are just fun to look at. Okay, so there's my ocean backdrop. Once your sea creature, the watercolor on here, and the tempera paints on your background are dry, you're ready to cut and glue. Okay, once you have your sea creature cut out, you're ready for glue. I forgot to mention that if you wanted to do additional things in the background with your sea creature, like coral or starfish or bubbles or like, you know, like a tiny shipwreck in the background or something, you could do that. I'd forgotten about it, so I actually just cut out a piece of like corally looking something and colored it orange. I'm going to glue this random scrap that I cut off of there looking somewhat like a shell maybe. When you start gluing, I prefer liquid glue just because I feel like it lasts longer. Glue sticks, after they dry out over time, they just kind of fall off of there. So when you start gluing, don't put your glue too close to the edge. If you do, it will ooze out, especially if you use washable temperas. This is important because then if you like rub your hand over the wet glue, it will sort of smear that tempera. So once you start gluing your things down, you just put a little bit of glue, not too close to the edge, press down lightly, and then I always like, there's my bubbles up there, I always like to do an ironing from the back where you just kind of press like this and make sure everything's flat and really securely attached. Okay, here's the finished product. If you want to go in and add in any Sharpie designs, patterns, textures or that when you get done, I'd say that'd be a good idea, and good luck.